Philip Jensen. Had a laparotomy earlier. Airway compromised. Careful with the ET tube. We don't want to do any further damage.
It's me all scrubbed up and nowhere to go. Go to the speeches by the time I get to the party.
Could we concentrate on the job in hand, please?
Sorry. The blood gases are getting worse. Saturation's down to 80%.
We'll have to move quickly. Let's go. Thank you. Okay, suction, please. Administer the heparin. I'm opening the pericardium.
I'm struggling here. BP's dangerously low and oxygenation still isn't thrilling me.
I'm setting 2 cannula, 1 in the aorta, 1 in the right atrium. As soon as they're in, it's important we get straight onto bypass so we don't lose him. Clamps. Thank you. Okay, everyone ready? Okay, I'm having... seem to be... Right now, do it now.
Got him.
Okay, you can take out the ET tube. I need to run a bronchoscopy. Paul. There's a tear at the right main bronchus. See it? Close to the trachea. Page Mrs. Beecham, ask if she can attend immediately.
Is that really necessary? How bad is it?
We'll put it this way, if we'd waited any longer, it really wouldn't have mattered who we called.
Mr. Byrne, I believe you've kidnapped one of my patients. Would you care to explain what's going on?
I was under the impression you'd been made aware of this situation.
I specifically told you to call me if there were any further complications. Are you familiar with the term professional etiquette? How long has he been up here?
We had to get him on bypass as soon as possible.
Would you like to enlighten me with how this has happened?
Mr. Jensen
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Mr. Byrne.
Mr. Jensen deteriorated on the ward. His chest X-ray showed a further tear. I didn't see the point in paging you as he was getting the best possible care. I was going to inform you afterwards.
Right, this better be important, Mr. Byrne. Your father was in the middle of a very funny story.
I'm having some difficulty reaching the trachobronchial junction.
Yes, well, I'm not surprised if you approach it via the chest.
I don't think it was his fault. This was a GS case that has suddenly developed a CT complication. It seems it was necessary to get the patient on bypass.
I'm afraid it was too late to find a tear beforehand.
Earrings?
Would you? Thank you. Let's get a bronchoscope out. Let's get to work.
It'll be interesting to see how you handle this, Mrs. Beecham. I'll scrub up.
Oh, that won't be necessary. It's a cardiothoracic case. I know that used to be your field, but it's not now.
He is still my patient.
All right. There it is. Miss Van, I need you to retract the lung as far as possible, please. I'm sure you have far more important things to do than admire my handiwork. Don't worry, we'll get your patient back on colour in no time. I might even rejoin Lord Van for his punchline.
I think you and I need a little talk.
Okay. Bronchoscope, please. Let's make sure there are no further tears. Scissors, please. Mr. Brown.
Yes, it looks clear to me.
Right, Dr. Rose, endoscope. Not too much pressure.
You're reacting well?
Good. We'll close him up and it's all yours.
Joseph, look, I don't mean to get you into any trouble.
Joseph. Nice work with Philip Jensen. Sorry if I seemed a little bit heavy-handed, but just would be nice to be kept in a picture. That's all. I believe you're doing your first mitral valve.
That's right, yes.
Can be tricky if you're not careful. Mr. May always used to swear by the Cosgrove retractor for solo operations. You should try it.
Thank you, I will.
See you at the party later, then. I can fill your father in with what Mr. May has been up to.
Well, I'm sure he'll be delighted.
Excuse me. I have just had a rather humiliating conversation with Rick Griffin. He wants to see you first thing. Dying to hear your version of events.
So, how's it going? Interesting case?
Do you have the toxicology reports for Philip Jennison?
Yeah, they're here somewhere.
Cadmium poisoning. Pretty obvious, really. Shall we break the news, or shall we page Mr. Byrne?
You know I made the right decision. The patient would have died.
You obviously had your reasons for doing what you did. Let's just hope that Mr. Griffin feels the same way. Renal imaging. Kidneys functioning at 85%.
Symptoms of cadmium.
Not necessarily. You did allow the patient to go hypoxic and hypertensive. Oxygen not reaching body tissue is a well-documented cause of renal damage. What were you doing while you were waiting for CT?
He was on oxygen. There was nothing more I could have done. We got him into theatre.
All I know, Miss Naylor, is that he was in your care when he went into crisis. Now he's going to need dialysis and probably a transplant.
That doesn't mean...
Don't you think you better get on that phone and get someone from renal unit to come up and speak to the family? Poor bloke. He only came in with a bit of whiplash.
Looks like you're going to be on the bench come Sunday. Again. Suppose I could spare a few hours at the shop if you want. Won't kill me to miss a couple of tutorials.
Well, that won't solve anything. We'll have to sell the business.
What do you mean?
We'd always planned to sell up when your dad retired.
Why have you let me keep things going?
You know what you were like when you were his age? The shop gave you focus. I thought it was for the best.
What am I supposed to do if we sell up?
Live a little.
Excuse me, I need to speak to Philip. Do you think you could give us a minute alone, please?
Whatever you've got to say, I'll find out anyway.
I'm afraid your scan and urine tests show severe damage to your kidneys. That means you're going to need regular dialysis until we can find a donor.
Is this because of the chemicals?
Heavy metal poisoning could certainly be a cause. We can't be certain.
Well, hang on a minute. You mean he's going to need a kidney transplant?
You can't fix it.
I'm sorry, it's the only long-term option. Look, I'll ask someone from the renal unit to come and speak to you. I'm really sorry.
The three of us.
How long do you reckon the wait will be for a donor?
There are twice as many patients waiting for a transplant than there are kidneys available.
So that means Phil could be on dialysis for years.
When looking for a donor, we always turn to the immediate family first. The organ rejection rate tends to lower when it's a close relative.
Well, that's it then. Where do I sign?
What are you talking about?
Because we're family, numbnuts. Turning into a right girl lately.
Mr. Byrne seems to have been unwittingly implicated in what is clearly a problem within your department. I think we all will agree his actions saved the life of one of your patients. So I assume that he'll be excluded from any further part in this.
Yes, of course, Mrs. Beecham. And we all thank our lucky stars that CT came to our rescue.
I'll leave it to you then.
Well, there seems to have been a total breakdown in communication. Would one of you care to explain why? You were asked to refer all difficulties to Mr. Jordan.
The patient was displaying signs of respiratory failure. I felt I had no choice. I mentioned earlier to Mr. Jordan that I thought he was developing CT problems.
Totally unsubstantiated. I was monitoring the situation. We were awaiting post-op scans and test results. There is a recognized chain of command.
Mr. Jordan is, of course, quite right. You should never go over the acting consultant's head to a registrar, especially a registrar from another department. Your remit is within the GS unit. You're supposed to confer with senior colleagues, keeping them informed of all developments. This is a team effort. We don't run around behind each other's backs.
It was clear from the chest x-ray that he was suffering after the intubation. I was following a hunch.
Ah, intuition.
Just stick to the facts in future.
It won't happen again.
I'm glad to hear it. You can go now.
See a bit of breakfast, Mr. Bang?
Thank you.
I'll do this.
Well, that's the least I can do. See you in the car park in 5 minutes. Don't thank me, will you?
Sorry?
I'm watching your back. Doing a bit of bridge building. You never know when we're going to need Mr. Byrne there. So, doing anything special to celebrate your birthday?
Yeah. I thought I'd treat myself a whole day in bed.
Oh, well, you never know. Maybe a few hundred of your close friends will have thrown you a surprise party. I hear they found a snake in there earlier.
The place is full of them. Good morning.
Is it?